Hi and welcome to First Fruits Crochet. My name is Julia and I crochet. All right, as always, I'm going to do a little project check-in with each of these projects and then do a random talk about whatever I want to feel like at the end. But I might not get to, I might just have little spurts of random discussion throughout. So this first project is my aunt's cardigan for winters in, I was gonna say Africa, but that's not right. She's not in Africa. She's in Arizona. Brain fog. But yeah, it was gonna be for winters there because they're pretty mild and it would keep her warm, at least somewhat. Even though the texture of this is very much like a towel, maybe she would find a use for it and like it. I hope she likes it. And I was going to wash this before I shipped it to her because this specific brand of cotton does bleed color. So I was going to wash it by itself before I shipped it because I didn't want it to bleed on her clothes. Even though nearly all of her clothes are black, I just did not want anything bad to happen. I also tried something a little different with this video. I tried laying out a blanket and showing my progress for all of the projects that I worked on. So that way it's at least a little more motivating for me because I could be like, oh yeah, that's a lot of progress. Or, oh yeah, that's not a lot of progress, but look at how different one side is from the other. So other projects that I worked on in this video are my white raglan sweater, and you'll see that shortly. I very much have slowed down on progress with that because it's just, I can't wear it because it's summer and it's going to be way too hot for that. And it's going to be a nice warm sweater for fall and winter. But I just, I can't wear it. So I don't really want to work on it. And it's also a project that's so tied to videos and movies that if I try to listen to a book, it just feels wrong to work on it. So I just have to find the right movie to watch while I work on this. I thought about putting on a Studio Ghibli movie. I'm not ever in the mood now. So I was gonna look for a good introspective horror movie to watch and just crochet with that. I really liked Doctor Sleep, so I might go and look for the director's cut and watch that version of Doctor Sleep. I'm not super keen on a lot of Stephen King books or movies or whatever, but I do end up liking them because, like most horror, it's usually steeped in allegory for, and even Stephen King doesn't do it super well, but that's okay. It's usually an allegory for some type of trauma, and at the end of a horror movie, you've either recovered from your trauma, conquered it, in that case, or you have not, and it's a sour note to end on for the characters. But I still like it anyway, so I might look for an introspective horror movie to watch while I work on this raglan sweater and just crank it out and finish it. I would like to just finish it. Another project that you'll see in here is a skirt. This is made out of plying. I think plying is the right word. But basically I took two, what are they called? Two rolls of cotton. I don't remember exactly what they're called, but it's crochet thread. It's just two spools of crochet thread that I spun together. Spun, I don't know what the right word is, but I twined them both together into one cake, and you can clearly see the two threads, or you will be able to when I get to that part. I just doubled it up, and I doubled up the crochet hook size, and I'm making a skirt. And this is another one of those wedding projects. Again, I'm not married. I'm not getting married anytime soon, but yeah, it's one of those things that I just wanted to work on. And if you're inspired to do something, why not go ahead and do it? And then the very last project that you'll see in here is a yarn bin, a yarn storage bin. I bought yarn from Joann's as it was going out of business specifically to make storage bins. So that is what I finished making because I have two that are in progress, and I finished one of them in this video, and then I have another one that's in progress. I started another one after I finished the one in this video because they're just really soothing and addicting to make, and it was fun. So how I made them, and it'll make more sense when you can actually see it. I started with a linen stitch square or a moss stitch square, and I just made it as big as I wanted the bottom of the storage bin to be. And then to make the walls, I would start in one corner and then I would back loop a single crochet for my moss stitch. This is not making any sense. I would do back loop single crochets on the moss stitch, and then I would turn my work and do normal until the wall of my bin was big enough, and then I would do that 3 more times. Sew the walls together, boom, I got a bin. And it'll look and make way more sense when you actually see it. Okay, now we're at the part of the video where I could talk about random stuff. I think all of these projects have gone very well so far. Just for last thoughts, there's nothing wrong with them. There's not really any struggles. It's just, it's nice. Random stuff. Wow, that moment when you realize you don't even know what to talk about. The usual thing that I go to talk about is the books that I've been reading or listening to. I'm still working my way through The Body Keeps the Score. Again, I've slowed down on that as well because it's just a tough listen. There's a lot of hard, emotional, and traumatic scenarios that are talked about so clinically that it just makes it really hard to listen to sometimes. And okay, I thought there was a car that was going to get in a wreck. I can look out and see a little bit of traffic, so I thought there was a car going to get in a wreck. But yeah, it just makes it hard to listen to at times, so I need to take a lot of breaks and be gentle. The hardest part is that they talk about these scenarios and they don't go through the whole healing process of how these people healed through their trauma. They're just kind of talking about it as, look, isn't it tragic that these people were suffering and this is awful? And so it's just really hard to listen to. For other books that I have going, oh, okay, it's the first novella in the Murderbot series, because that is a show on Apple TV that I've been watching with my dad, and it's entertaining enough, but I ended up dropping the novella because it just wasn't as immersive as I like books to be. See, my mental imagination is not visually vivid. I need sensory detail in order to be grounded in a scene, otherwise, I'm just gonna drop it and be bored. And very rarely have I interacted with authors that write in a sensory way. It's 99% of the time very heavy on visuals, and it's hard for me to get into books like that. So I end up reading a lot more nonfiction than I do fiction because nonfiction just doesn't speak to me. It doesn't it's not accessible to me, I guess. Another book that I have on the docket that I haven't listened to yet is called Healing the Shame That Binds You. And this one actually sounds like it'll be more proactive from the beginning, which I'm excited about. I've been listening to a lot of books about trauma and healing because that's what I want to do with my life. It's hard things to listen to, but I would like to be a facilitator for healing for other people, no matter what that ends up looking like. So that's the content I've been listening to. Another book that I've put on pause because the other two are on Libby and I have to read or listen to the library books first. The Art of Language Invention, I haven't finished that one. And then there's the Bible that I'm always listening to anyway. The Skirt Project, that one I am exclusively listening to the Bible for because with any of my wedding related projects that I take on, I want to be listening to either the Bible or sermons because I want to be thinking of covenant when I look at those projects. Because I know myself, and when I finish a project, I'm just going to look at it and think of all of the things that I watched or listened to while I worked on it. So I want to be intentional about what I'm watching or listening to when I work on wedding projects. And then I have a physical book that I bought from a thrift store called How to Say No and Not Feel Bad About It. And then the book Show Your Work is a physical book that I have not finished. I'm halfway through, and I do want to just start it over and take notes because Austin Kleon, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is just a little bit hard to follow. Steal Like an Artist made a lot more sense to me, but Show Your Work seems a lot harder to grasp. It seems more intuitive and also harder at the same time. So I'm gonna go through that one again when it's time. But for now, I'm just gonna focus on the 2 library books that I have. Changing subject back to crochet projects. In the last video that I posted last week, I started working on a pink Tunisian crochet skirt. I've put that on pause because I don't actually know what I want this pink dress to look like. I am not in a mental headspace of being needy or needing a relationship to complete me. I just want to make pretty dresses, so that's why I'm making these. But I also want to be intentional about it because the thought behind it was that I would be something like a flower nymph. I was considering the stitches that I wanted to use with all three of these dresses because, yes, I am psychotic enough to make three wedding dresses, a, a ceremony dress, a reception dress, and a going away dress. And since it is a flower theme, I was thinking I could do something like leaves, shoots, and blooms, and those that could be the theme for all three of those dresses. But I do know that the cotton one that I'm working on, that you saw me work on in this video, is for sure going to be the reception dress because it's going to have a lot of movement and flow, and that's perfect for dancing because I absolutely want to dance when I get married. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. I hope to see you next time. Please feel free to subscribe if you feel so inclined. Bye!